time now for today's perspective, and today we're turning to Germany, where a criminal complaint against the Syrian regime has been filed. A demand for justice for the hundreds of victims of chemical attacks carried out in Syria in 2013 and again in 2017. The case is set to offer a rare legal avenue for action against the government of President Bashar al-Assad. Attempts to set up an international tribunal have previously been blocked by Russia and China. Well, we can speak now to the president of one of the organisations who filed the complaint, the Syrian Centre for Media and Freedom of Expression, Mr. Mazen Darwish. Thanks for your time. Firstly, Mr. Darwish, can you explain to us why this case is being presented to the German courts?
Thank you. Actually, this is because the German jurisdiction accepted the universal jurisdiction in very wide way. So there is a lot of evidence, and there is many of the victims they based in Germany. So this is the entry point. But also there is soon there is another country, another cases, and the same topic will be in another country like France.
Okay, but Germany, if I understand it, doesn't try people in absentia. So how far do you think the case can go in Germany? Can perpetrators be brought to justice?
Yeah, this is true. We think that to open the case, to have hearing for the victim and for the witness, and to have the evidence in the court, this is very important point. We know that Germany court can also issue a warrant arrest in absence, and this is what happened in another case with Jamil Hassan, the head of the Syrian Air Force Security Service. So there is many legal tools. Still can the court or the prosecutor in Germany do it, even if they will not bring the suspect to Germany to pursue them.
Okay, now I do believe the evidence being presented in this case is quite extensive, including lots of testimonies from survivors who, as you say, they are now living in Germany, also defectors of the Syrian government. Can you give us an idea of what's going to be presented?
Actually, there is many also defected, some of them in the central of the decision in that time, especially in 2013, and they are escaped from the regime. They will give their testimony, and they are involved in the chain of command even in that period. So we'll start from the documentation which happened in the ground. There is 200 photo, 147 video. There is a part from the missile, and a lot of evidence about from where this bomb coming. Also, there is many evidence regarding the medical analysis from the doctors, from the samples from the victim, and how the element of the sarin coming through the even the factory number 100 in the Syrian army. So there is a lot, many hundreds of papers and evidence present to the federal prosecutor in Germany.
Okay, it sounds indeed like even since that UN investigation in 2016, that concluded that the Syrian government used chlorine and sarin gas. It sounds like a lot more direct first-person testimonies about to be presented there in Germany. But you were mentioning it earlier, it is not the only trial against the Syrian government case before the German courts when it comes to the Syrian regime. You were also in court recently to testify in a case against a former Syrian military and security officials suspected of human rights violations. They live in Germany today. Can you tell us how has that case progressed?
Yeah, the case in Koblenz, it goes very well. And again, in 15 and 16 September, we in the center present our testimony and provide the court with many new evidence. Some of these evidence, it's official documents leaked from the security service itself, from the branch 251. And now we have physical evidence about the dying of the prisoners in the branch 251. There is some evidence also explain how the Caesar photo process coming, and there is some cables from the branch and the headquarters in Damascus. And the most important thing that these cables, including the National Security Office, which link to the president directly. So in Koblenz, I think now we can say that the whole picture is clear, and even the practical steps, how it's happened from inside. Also, there is 4 mass grave. We provide the court in 4 mass grave addresses in suburb Damascus, and there is some documents leaked from the military hospitals. One of these documents, it's complaint from the military hospital in Harasta, said that they receive a lot of dead body and they can't handle it. They need support from the branch 251 and their prisoners who die, and they ask more people to work in packing this body and transfer it. So I think now in Koblenz, there is a huge number of evidence. Seriously, it's very clear, and there is also the chain of command of the branch 251. After before 15 September, we know that the court have only 7 names from the chain of command, and now they have 93 names, the full chain of command for branch 251 and the structure also.
Okay, so it sounds like going right up the ranks there. But of course, Mr. Darwish, officially the Assad government still denies it tortures prisoners. However, you yourself have been arrested for reporting on protests against Assad's government back in 2011 or 2012. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What exactly happened in your personal story and how you left the prison?
I was in the prison several times since 2011, but the long period in 16 February 2012, we were arrested with my colleague, 15 of my colleague, and we faces all these kind of torture method. One of our colleague, Ayham Ghazzoul, he died under torture, and he's one of the Caesar photo even. Me, myself, for more than 1 year in the security service, we have this daily torture. I still remember in the 4th division where there is no investigation, whereas even the guard, they don't know our names or why we are in custody. But still we have daily 2 sessions for torture. And when we speak to the guard and said we don't do anything or we are innocent, they said yes, maybe, but this is our duty. We have 2 session torture and we will do it. So the situation, it's like this. I see Caesar photo in my eyes. I see people dying in the prison.
Horrific stories and a first-hand account. Mr. Darwish, thanks so much for taking time out and telling us more about it and of those current cases before the German courts. Mazen Darwish, there, President of the Syrian Centre for Media and Freedom of Expression.